Good Friday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Friday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. And there's, for the most part, a lot of the same, but there is some new stuff, some new severe weather to talk about. And we also will continue to go on and talk about some thunderstorm activity as we continue throughout, not only through tomorrow, but also potentially through Sunday as well. And so, what is on tap? Widespread dense fog tonight through Saturday morning, especially southeast South Carolina, the low country. Unseasonably warm temperatures persist through mid to next week. Mostly dry through Saturday, low precipitation confidence midweek, and then increasing shower chances Saturday evening through early next week. So that's what we are going to go on and talk about as we go into tonight. And so, first off, before we even get into that, it is Friday evening, which means let's go and give ourselves a round of applause for that. Made it all the way to the weekend. All the way to the weekend, so we are glad about that. And then also make sure that if you've not hit the like button yet, go in and do so right now. We've had around 5 people tune in so far and only 2 likes. Also, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We're at 712, trying to get to 800. Also, make sure you go and hit the share button. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to because it's free and you can change your mind anytime. Now, what about for your live radar? What is currently going on throughout the state of South Carolina? Well, right now, nothing. We are nice and dry right now. No precipitation is ongoing right now. And so it looks like that we are remaining dry. But if we go in and look at our precipitation throughout the entire U.S., obviously that is not going to be the case. We have not only some rainfall going on up here inside of Michigan. We have a severe thunderstorm watch up here. We have rainfall going on throughout the deep south from Georgia all the way over into Texas. Rainfall in Florida. We have a tornado watch in 2 separate areas, one in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and then also up there inside of Iowa. We have some snowfall on the backside from South Dakota, Nebraska, and Colorado. Some rainfall a bit behind that. And then rainfall up here in the Pacific Northwest going on over into central parts of Washington with some snowfall potentially incorporated into that system. We also do have some mixed precipitation going on up here in Minnesota, going on in parts of Iowa and Nebraska as well. Now for our cloud cover. Looks like for the most part cloud cover is mainly up there inside of the upstate right now. Low country looks relatively clear. Same thing with the PD and the Grand Strand areas. But look at that sea fog. See all that cloud cover off to sea? That is all the sea fog right there that we're looking at. And if we go in and look at our cloud cover for the future, you can already see that sea fog there. Starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m., you can already see potentially already trying to take over some of the coastal areas already. And if you go in and push this forward throughout 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock, going all the way to 12 o'clock in the morning here, you can see that fog cover now trying to move more into the inland areas. But not only do we have that fog cover now moving inland, but also we still have that cloud cover going on up there inside of the upstate as well. And so that's going to cause kind of these two to get together. Here's around 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And look at how that fog cover spreads all the way up, potentially even as far inland as the upstate. And so some of that may also have to just do with some regular cloud cover, but just you can easily see how cloud cover takes over the entire state. I mean, as we get into 8 o'clock in the morning, a lot of that being fog activity. Now, as you go on and push your way forward, look at how that fog cover instantly goes away, but it doesn't really start going away until you get to around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock p.m. And it looks like, for the most part, that the cloud cover and that fog cover activity will stay stay with us as far as maybe noon. So, will that happen? We'll have to see what happens there. I don't know if it'll be all the way till noon, but it would be all the way up there inside of the upstate, not really too much in the low country or like the PD and the Grand Strand areas anymore. As we push throughout tomorrow, though, cloud cover for sure definitely tries to go away. We still have some sea fog activity going on, even as we go into like tomorrow evening. But one thing that I will say, it's definitely a lot clearer as we go into tomorrow. Now we move in all the way through into around 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock p.m., 12 o'clock in the morning as well. You have some cloud cover still going on in parts of the upstate, but we're just going to speed this up all the way through Sunday morning. Still some cloud cover activity, and cloud cover activity definitely tries to make itself the main character as we go all the way throughout Sunday, going into Sunday evening. Now for our current temperatures right now, as we currently stand right now, 63 in Charleston, 66 in Summerville, as well as 64 in Beaufort, 63 Hilton Head Island, as well as a good 64 in Georgetown, 67 inside of Orangeburg, 68 in Aiken, Columbia, 67 inside of Florence, Lugoff, Sumter, 64 over here in Georgetown and Conway, 61 in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. We also have around a good 67 in Newberry, Union, Gaffney, York, 66 in Clemson, Anderson, Greenwood, Rock Hill, and even 65 in Greenville and 66 in Spartanburg. High temperatures, or not high temperatures, air quality. We're about to get to high temperatures. I guess I really want to talk about high temperatures for tomorrow because it's going to be so nice tomorrow. But air quality, for the most part, still inside that moderate category, same as this morning. Almost looks like that we are still inside that moderate air quality index up there for the very far upstate, for parts of the western Midlands, and even over there inside of the PD areas, we still have a bit of a moderate air quality index going on. Everybody else is inside the good, though. Moderate's not bad, though, so definitely, nothing to panic about, but for the most part, a normal night. Low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 61 in Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Winsboro, Greenwood, Anderson, Camden, Florence, Hilton Head Island, all these areas, 61 degrees, 62, Columbia, Aiken, going on over inside of Sumter, going on over in Barnwell, 61 in Charleston, Walterboro, even around 59 in Georgetown and Myrtle Beach. So for the most part, it looks like that we are going to just continue to stay in the low 60s, high 50s, and some of us may even try to get to the may just try to stay in the mid 60s for tonight. But for the most part, I think really low to mid 60s is where we're going to stand at. High temperatures for tomorrow, going to be around a good 77 in Greenville, 77 in Spartanburg, as well as 78 in Rock Hill, 77 in Anderson, and 79 in Newberry, 79 in Greenwood, and 83 Columbia, 81 Camden, 81 in Cheraw, 82 Florence, 81 in Sumter, and 83 in Barnwell, 80 Walterboro, Moncks Corner, 76 in Georgetown, 74 Charleston, and Hilton Head Island, as well as 71 in Myrtle Beach. Now for your rainfall for tonight, for the most part, as we go into tonight, going into tomorrow night as well, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch days here for Rock Hill, Winsboro, Lawrence, Greenville, also up there near Anderson as well. And some of us may even try to get to a 10th of an inch, maybe even all the way up to an inch of rainfall. It's possible. It's definitely possible. So make sure that you are watching for that, especially if you're up there inside of the upstate as we move into tonight, going into tomorrow, mainly tomorrow for the most part. But this is what we're looking at in terms of total precipitation accumulation. And if we go to the crazy score, for the most part, we're at a 33. Why are we at a 33? Well, for the most part, because number one, fog activity definitely will be ongoing with noticeable to locally significant potential for that dense fog to occur. Dense fog advisory may be possible as we go into later tonight, so we'll see what happens there. Calm light winds, that favors that fog development. Good radiational cooling setup there. No precipitation really expected for tonight. Will change as we go into tomorrow. And for the most part, we're actually going to be, if we don't count the fog cover, we would actually be pretty clear for tonight. And we actually are mostly clear right now, especially inside the low country and the PD Grand Strand areas, but won't last long. As we go throughout tonight, that fog cover will continue to increase more and more and more. Thunderstorm activity for tonight, if a thunderstorm or a shower does get going, there is that thunderstorm risk there. And so, not much rainfall, not much shower activity is really going to happen too much tonight as much as it will tomorrow, especially like tomorrow night. So that's when most of that rainfall is going to happen. But there is definitely some shower activity possible as we go throughout tonight in the parts of the upstate. And we'll go in and look at the models for that in just a second. SPC outlook for tomorrow Saturday, March the 7th, 2026. We do have a little marginal risk of severe weather. That's up there for Greenville, for Spartanburg, for Clemson, for Central, for over there inside of other areas like Gaffney is included in there. So some areas have a chance for some isolated flash flooding, but if you're in, or not isolated flash flooding, isolated severe weather, but if you're inside of the light green, that means that you just have a regular thunderstorm risk. You're not really looking at anything too crazy there. And so you might be asking, well, what are the risks? What are we going to see for tomorrow that's going to prompt this severe weather to occur? And it is damaging winds. Isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour are possible as you go into tomorrow. So make sure that you are paying attention for that, as we will have that potential. Now, like I said, it's not really going to happen too much during the day. That threat's actually going to come along by the time you get actually through into like tomorrow night. And like I said, we'll look at the models for it. And then for day 3, we're still not done. Sunday, March 8th, 2026, I said let's watch out for this, because I said Sunday, we may have to be talking about some severe weather here, and this is what we have. Now have an isolated oh my gosh, I don't know why I keep on saying isolated flash flooding. Isolated severe thunderstorm risk that goes on over there for Rock Hill, for Columbia, also for Florence as well. Now, mainly that's inside the PD areas, also, the Northern Midlands as well, and a little bit of the upstate, even is included in there as we go into Sunday. So make sure that you're paying attention for that. Everybody else also has a thunderstorm risk as well. You can see everybody else inside of the light green going on right now. Fire weather, nothing here. Excessive rainfall, nothing here. So I don't know why I keep on talking about it, but no, we have no risk of any sort of excessive rainfall. If I accidentally say it again later and I don't catch it, no, there is no risk of any sort of flash flooding as we go throughout the next 5 days. So that's not what we're looking for. So let's go on and look at the short-term model. So we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go on and push this forward. And like I said, you get some rainfall ongoing throughout a good amount of the upstate. You go throughout tonight. And it's, like I said, not really too heavy. Not going to like knock out a drought or something like that. But it will bring a good amount of rainfall. Or at least we'll try to in these widely scattered shower activity in the upstate. But if we go on and continue to push this forward, look as we get into 7 o'clock in the morning. All that rainfall is gone. I mean, we stay dry for the most part as we continue throughout the day. You may see like some isolated drizzles happening here and there, maybe as you get into later into the afternoon tomorrow. But for the most part, it looks like that we are staying dry. Now, as we continue all the way through 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, going all the way through to 7 o'clock p.m., we have now some more shower activity, some more downpour activity, maybe a thunderstorm trying to move through as we go throughout the upstate. Now that's going into the evening, 8, 9, 10 o'clock p.m. Look at all of this rainfall now moving in, and you can actually see the line of, like this is actually the system right here that's causing the severe weather right now over there inside of Oklahoma, over there inside of Missouri, Kansas right now. And so now that is going on over there, that system's going to continue to move its way through, and, by hour 26, 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night, it's going to start causing some shower, maybe some thunderstorm, gusty wind activities by the time we move into tomorrow night. And it will continue to go in and move its way through. I mean, we go through Sunday, 3 o'clock in the morning. We still have rainfall, moderate rainfall moving throughout the state, even as we go into the late night hours on Saturday. And then we go all the way through Sunday morning, going into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. And, we have some rainfall behind it. Some rainfall behind it as we move through Sunday. Here's 8 o'clock p.m. with some more rainfall moving through. Now, that severe weather risk that we're watching for right here may be an early morning risk. We'll go on real quick and check all this out right now. So we're going to go in and look at the ingredients real quick, see what we have here for the severe weather, and, see what they're seeing. And so, we're going on looking at these dew points. Dew points are there. We're up into the 60s. You can see, for the most part, we stay there for a good amount of us. But if we go in and move on over into the 500 millibar height and wind patterns, Do we have the winds up in the atmosphere for like a tornado to spin up? I'm not really seeing too much of anything right now. If you wanted to see some of that, you would need to see, like what's over here in Alabama, probably even more than that. So I think for right now, it's looking like that we are not really going to see too much of a tornado threat from this, which is why they don't have us in a tornado threat right now. And then if we go on and look at the Cape as well, Cape is also very important to go on and look at. Cape inside the atmosphere, as we go throughout tomorrow, you can see that it's there definitely in front of the system. This is 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. We're still going to have showers in the vicinity, but you do see little spots of like 1,000 right here, little spots of 1,000 joules per kilogram in terms of Cape inside the atmosphere, pretty much meaning that there's definitely Cape in the atmosphere, and there is even a little marginal severe weather sounding here. So, yeah, the environment definitely is primed for it. But then as we move through Sunday, I see 200 here or so, and the one for Sunday, it's not really, unless they're talking about it from like a very, very early morning Sunday threat for severe weather. For the most part, it's looking like that it may happen more towards the nighttime hours. But let's go in and check out the other models and see if that is the case. Let's go back to the 18Z real quick. Let's see, do they have it on the NAM? I believe they do. We go in and look at the actual reflectivity. We're going to start back over here going into Sunday, and then we continue our way forward, and look at that. This is Sunday's, the HRRR and the NAM have completely different scenarios. This is Sunday right here. This is not what we were just seeing on the HRRR. And the NAM actually has a new little system trying to move through by around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. in another little area of gusty winds or so, maybe even some even damaging as you move throughout Sunday evening there. And maybe even bringing some heavy rainfall with it as well. So, seems like that's going to be more of an evening time threat on Sunday as well, if it verifies like the NAM. But like I said, the HRRR didn't really show that until like a little bit later. So we'll see what the HRRR model has to say for tomorrow for this system. But for the most part, looks like that we are going to just continue to watch this as we go throughout the next 24 hours or so, see what this has to say, and obviously be paying attention for tomorrow. If you are inside of the risk for tomorrow, make sure that you do have a plan in place just in case you do get a special weather statement, severe thunderstorm warning, anything like that. We're not expecting anything too crazy from this, not like what they're seeing over there in the West right now with tornadoes, especially, particularly dangerous situation, tornadoes going on over there inside the West. But for right now, severe weather is still severe weather, and so you still have to pay attention for it. Now for the models. Let's go on and start off here at the 54-hour mark. And like we're starting here Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m. And, you might be looking at it saying, okay, I see the activity. I see stuff going on here. But if we continue through Sunday, going through Monday comes along and you don't really see too much on Monday. You don't. You get all the way through Tuesday, getting into Wednesday, and the activity is just not really there as much as we get through Monday and Tuesday, like it's going to be this weekend. You're seeing more of an isolated risk, maybe a little bit of a widely scattered risk, barely seeing anything on Wednesday for the most part. But one thing that I will say is even though we're not really seeing too much in terms of rainfall activity as much as we see during the weekend time frame, you still are seeing some isolated activity here and there, like I said a bit earlier. And so the big thing that we're looking at is right here on Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, that's subject to change, but I've been preaching and talking about next week, the late week, for honestly days at this point. I've been saying there is something coming up as we get into Thursday and Friday of next week that I'm paying attention to, and it has stayed. Honestly, how many times have I been talking about the March 6th through like the March 12th, 13th, 14th time frame. I mean, that was like when it was still almost 400 hours out. I mean, that's at that point, I mean, like 150 hours in the past at that point that we've been, just talking about this time frame. That was around 6 days ago that I started talking about this whole system about next week, Thursday and Friday. And it's still here. It's still verified. And even as we go in 141 hours out from now, it's still here. So, in my opinion, good job on the models there for that. That the fact that it's still here, even though, 300, 400 hours out, you usually would throw it to the side, but it is still here. So we're going to go in and continue to watch for this. I mean, it looks like definitely another cold front's coming in. I saw Miss Chris and my Aunt Lula talking about how another cold front's coming through as we go into this time frame. And so, yes, that is what's happening. You see the cold air all the way up there. Even though the cold air, for the most part, is up there, the cold front still extends its way down even more. So, even though the cold air isn't directly situated over us, it still is a cold front. And it moves away and it brings us nice dry conditions for next weekend. I mean, it's going to be a nice weekend next weekend right now. Things can change. Things can always change. I'm not saying 100%. But for right now, it's looking like next weekend is going to be pretty nice. We go through Monday, going through Tuesday and Wednesday of the week after next week. And it looks like some more active activity potentially possible. But for the most part, everything else just a bit too far out to talk about there. So we're going to just continue to watch everything before that. So let's go on real quick and look at our temperatures. So we're going to start off here at the Friday 10 o'clock p.m. mark. And we go in and push this forward, and you can definitely see warm temperatures getting going as we go all the way through next week. Monday, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then there goes that cold front that we were just talking about. Cold front comes through Thursday. Cold front comes through Friday. Drops us around 10 degrees below average. Some of us maybe even close to 15 degrees below average as we go into Thursday and Friday of next week. And then even as we go into the weekend, it may even try to stay a little bit just at the normal range. So like a normal weekend, dry weekend with normal temperatures is what we could potentially be looking at as we go into next weekend. And so, we still have warm temperatures that will be coming by afterwards, but some more cold air potentially coming through as we go into the week after next week, bringing in some temperatures, as far as 10 to 20 degrees below average. So, that's March like the 20th. That's way too far out to really be talking about stuff. But for the most part, it looks like that we are going to get a cold blast. Unfortunately, I know definitely it is warm right now. And you may think, okay, well, it's March now. The cold air has to be done. No. Still have another cold blast that's going to be moving through as we get into Thursday and Friday of next week. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a poll inside the chat real quick, which is if you're tuned in on the recording, that's why you should tune in during the live stream, because I might just put a random poll, and I'm doing that right now. I'm going to say, are you ready for this cold front next week? So go ahead and put your answer inside the chat, yes or no. When I say ready, like, do you want it to happen? Are you excited for it? Something like that. So polls inside the chat right now. Go in and vote in it. And so if we just go and look at our actual temperatures, so these are like actual, not anomaly temperatures, below average, above average. These are actual temperatures. If we want to move on all the way through this weekend, we're still going to be up in the 80s this weekend. Same thing as we go through Sunday. Monday comes along, we're still going to be in the 80s. Tuesday, definitely going to be in the 80s on Tuesday. Maybe we might even be talking about some mid-80s as we go into Tuesday. Going into Wednesday, still 80s. It's not until we get into Thursday to our temperatures are going to try to get up into the 70s and, may try to make that run towards the 80s, but that cold front comes through and stops it just in its tracks and say, nope, not going to reach it to the 80s. In fact, you're really only going to max out in the 70s, and that's going to be during the morning time frame. So this is, we're potentially talking about one of those things to where it may be warmer during the morning time than it is in the afternoon time later next week. So that's something to watch for. Something interesting that happens every once in a while. But as we go through Thursday night going into Friday morning, I mean, we're not talking about freezing temperatures, but we are talking about temperatures back into the 40s and 30s for a good amount of us. So that's coming back. We go through Saturday, going into Sunday. And, even as you move through Sunday of next weekend, it looks like that we are going to, try to be back up into that 70 time frame. And, warm air will obviously be coming back, but we just have to get ready for this cold front as we get into Thursday and Friday of next week. So for the most part, I think that's about all that I have to say here. And I think let's go on and talk with the audience. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. No, I think that's about it. So make sure, if you've not put something inside the chat, go in and do so, because I am reading the chats right now. And so if you want to go in and be a part of that, go in and put something inside the chat right now. Mitch Chris was here first. He says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Pray that everyone had a wonderful or beautiful day. Well, thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris says, it was a very nice day here in Moncks Corner. Got to around 83 degrees. And then, let me go in and check out mine real quick. See how hot it got at my house today. I know last time that I saw it was 80 and it felt like 82. Today was 83. So, around the same as your house as well over there in Moncks Corner. Mr. Chris says, it looked like we would get some rain, but didn't get any. And then Maya Lewis says, Georgetown high today was around 78 degrees. Well, thank you so much for that weather report as well. Currently, it's around 63. Mr. Chris says, just pray that this nice weather sticks around. Well, won't really as we go throughout this weekend, obviously with the thunderstorm activity, and we'll have some isolated to scattered shower activity, maybe thunderstorm as we go into next week, but for the most part, not like anything too crazy. And then he says currently 67 degrees here in Moncks Corner. Right now in my house it's around a good 67 as well. So the same at my house as well. So same high temperatures today, same current temperatures for both of us. Maya Lou says it was so nice today. Can hardly believe that we will get a cold front next week. There was not a cloud in the sky. Well, thank you so much for that weather report. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. I'm late, but I'm here. No problem. You made it. Mr. Chris says, was mostly cloudy almost all day, but cleared up nicely this afternoon. My name says, hello. Hey, I'm late getting on. It was a nice warm day. No problem. At all. If you're late, that's fine. At least you made it in. For anybody who, thinks they have to apologize for, you don't have to apologize for being late here for tonight or for any night. Churro says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And then, for the most part, that's about it. My Aunt Lou says, I don't know about anyone else in Georgetown early this morning. It was so chilly. It wasn't chilly this morning in my house. In fact, I was actually kind of burning up outside. It was, I believe, 59 degrees when I checked my temperature. But the thing is with that is that the sun was out, and so it was also a bit humid as well, because it was, previously just foggy outside. So it's going to be humid. So it was a humid 59 degrees outside with the sun out, completely sunny. So it was actually kind of hot. Wasn't really cool at all. But let's go on now and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. And we have some things to talk about for these 4 areas tonight. And it's really pretty much for San Antonio being one of the main ones, Raleigh not being one of the main ones. Philadelphia, something interesting happens as you go into tomorrow. So we'll talk about all that. But first, San Antonio, low temperatures tonight at around 70. High temperatures tomorrow at around 83. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 59. Precipitation is not expected for tonight. But tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms are expected as you go through tomorrow and tomorrow night. So make sure that you are prepared for that. Now, for the most part, in terms of your severe weather, in terms of your excessive rainfall, it looks like that you still have that slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow. That slight risk of severe weather is still in effect for you for tomorrow. So make sure that you are paying attention for that. Again, slight risk, that means that you have a 5% chance of damaging winds, which is, isolated damaging wind gust. But your main threat is damaging hail. You have a 15% SIG 1 risk of severe hail for tomorrow. So that is for a 15 to 29% chance for damaging hail, and the potential for a supercell environment with hail potentially being greater than 2 inches. I mean, it's possible. It's possible with a couple of scattered storms are here to get a hailstone of up to 2 inches or more. So make sure that you are aware of that for tomorrow. And then for the most part, I think that's it in terms of severe weather. Excessive rainfall not expected for you for tonight, but tomorrow there is a slight risk of excessive rainfall for you, so make sure that you are paying attention for that. Scattered flash flooding is possible for you tomorrow. And then on Sunday, isolated flash flooding, and then also on Tuesday, isolated flash flooding is possible for you as well. So you just have a lot of flash flooding that's going to be coming for you later. So make sure that you, like I said, are prepared for it. Now, in terms of your future, I mean, for the most part, it looks like that you are going to continue to stay hot. Going to continue to stay hot. Where's the forecast? Oh, there it is. I mean, you may drop down to 70 degrees on Sunday, but you're going to be right back up to 84 Monday, 83 on Tuesday. Going into Wednesday, you're going to be 81. And then you will drop down a little bit as you go into Thursday and Friday of next week. 72 on Thursday, 77 on Friday. So a little bit of a nice little cool down to get out of the 80s for a little bit. And then for your rainfall for the future, I mean, it's going to be raining and storming like every single day for the next, honestly, 5 or 6 days at this point. Saturday, chance of showers. Sunday, showers, storms. Monday, showers. Tuesday, showers, storms. Wednesday, showers. So you're going to just stay active as you go all the way throughout midweek. Then for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at around 63. High temperatures for tomorrow at around 80. And then low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 64. Precipitation not expected. Patchy fog is expected, though, as you go throughout tonight and for tomorrow. Make sure that you're paying attention for that. For your severe weather and excessive rainfall, you have a risk for some severe weather, isolated severe weather on Sunday, March the 8th. 5 to a 14% risk of severe weather, so make sure that you're watching for that. It's just like that same risk that we were talking about in South Carolina not too long ago, but that was mainly just for isolated storms here or there. Now, in terms of excessive rainfall for you, you don't have any risk for that, so you won't have to watch out for that for now. And then for your future, it looks like that you will continue to be in the 70s, in the 80s. I mean, it's really nice over there, but won't last long. Next week, Friday, you'll drop right back down to the 50s. We talked about that cold front over here in South Carolina as we go into Thursday and Friday. The same thing will happen for you as you go throughout next week. And then rainfall for your future, maybe a little bit of a rainy, maybe even stormy weekend or start to the week next week on Monday, but for the most part, you're going to kind of dry out Tuesday and Wednesday, but then Thursday through Friday will come along and rainfall will definitely be still on the table for you. Then for Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight around 39, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 52, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at 52 degrees. So you might be asking, why in the world is the high temperature and the low temperature the same? Well, because during the nighttime hours, by the time it gets to around 2 o'clock in the morning, the temperature is actually going to rise to 59 degrees. So your high temperature will really be during the nighttime hours. And so that's why your high temperature for Saturday during the day, 52. Low temperature for Saturday night, 52. So your temperature is not going to change at all, once you get to the hottest portion, well, what's supposedly supposed to be the hottest portion of the day for tomorrow, all the way throughout the nighttime hours. So something to look for there. There is a chance of rain tonight, tomorrow, and then showers are likely tomorrow. And patchy fog is also inside the equation as you go into the next 24 hours or so. Now, in terms of your severe weather, excessive rainfall, looks like right now that you do not have any risk for any sort of severe weather or excessive rainfall, so you're good there. But in terms of your future, it looks like that you will actually dry out a little bit. Monday, Tuesday looking dry, and you will go up into the 70s, but unfortunately won't last long. Thursday, 55, Friday, 50 degrees being your high temperature. Then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at around 44, high temperatures for tomorrow at around 62, and then low temperatures for tomorrow night at around 38. Precipitation, severe thunderstorms definitely are possible for you tonight if you have not already received them already, as it looks like you are now out of the tornado watch right now, even though there are still tornado warnings going on inside of Oklahoma. In fact, there is one on the ground right now inside of Oklahoma, just to the east of Tulsa. So, right now, it looks like that you're done with the severe weather for tonight. So that just leaves you with a little slight chance of shower activity, which probably isn't really going to do too much. Tomorrow, though, chance of showers is there. And then for your future, it looks like that you will indeed have that warm up still to occur. 71 on Sunday, 82 on Monday, 80 on Tuesday. Wednesday comes along, you will drop right back down, but Friday comes along up to 77. So your temperatures will be kind of flipping here and there. And then for severe weather, I already said, for the most part after tonight, you're pretty much done. Excessive rainfall, though, I will say, you do have a risk for some excessive rainfall on Monday and Tuesday of next week. So make sure that you're watching out for some isolated flash flooding for Monday and Tuesday. And that's all that I have to say for these 4 areas. A lot to talk about. I mean, just a lot of stuff going on for these areas right now as we speak. I'm pretty sure almost everyone except for Philadelphia had a risk for some severe weather or excessive rainfall. Now, for the entire U.S. weather news-wise, I include South Carolina and the 4 areas we just talked about. Severe thunderstorms are expected from the southern plains to the Midwest through Friday night. Severe storm hazards may include large hail, severe winds, and tornadoes, some of which may be strong. There will be another chance for severe thunderstorms on tomorrow for ports of Texas, lower Mississippi Valley, and the Ohio Valley. Storms could result in locally heavy rainfall and flash flooding. In terms of severe weather, I pretty much talked about areas that were already in there throughout the entire U.S., but the people really under the gun for tomorrow are areas like northern Louisiana, central Louisiana, southern Arkansas, parts of Mississippi, a good amount of Texas, eastern Ohio, a good amount of West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, and western New York. Some of those areas, and then in the middle, Kentucky, Tennessee, northwestern Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina, North Carolina is included in there as well. Those areas also have a risk for some severe weather for tomorrow. And then on Sunday, it's our day, North Carolina and southeastern Virginia with that little marginal risk over there. And then that's it. Nothing else for me really to talk about there. So make sure if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. Right now we have around a good, 13 people tuned in and only 7 likes right now. So go and hit the like button. Also make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. Like I said, 712, trying to get to 800. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. Top fans of the night for tonight. Seems like that it was still that same back and forth for tonight. But if I'm not mistaken, I see around 2 there. I see 3. I see 1, 2, 1. Yeah. Miss Chris 1 for tonight. And then my Aunt Lula was at number 2. My Nana was at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m., being here early, being a subscriber, and being active. If you do all 4, most likely you will be inside of the top. So let's go and give them a round of applause. And so that's all I have to say there. Make sure that you tune back in tomorrow morning for your Saturday morning forecast update, and we will be back tomorrow evening for your Saturday evening forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Friday, and make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.